we do have Kunal Bothra joining in with us, as well as Nooresh Merani. Very good afternoon to all, both of you all as well, and good afternoon to you as well, Anisha. And I just want to clarify, it was Dalmia Bharat that we were talking about. At one point we did flash Dalmia Bharat Sugar. It's Dalmia Bharat. That's at around 2,380 rupees. That's the stock we were talking about as well. Okay, so let's go to you, Kunal, first. And Kunal, in terms of what we are seeing in a move today that has come in is from JBM Auto. Look at the up move that we've suddenly seen coming in this stock as well. Market surely have seen a recovery right now, but these individual stocks are seeing a sharp up move. So what is it that you are seeing in terms of JBM Auto? Anything specific in terms of charts?
So yeah, I think the price volume breakout for the stock, it's come out of a major resistance. I think the previous August or September highs for the stock was around 1570, 1575 mark. That's been taken out for JBM Auto, and the stock today has shown some good surge of volumes as well. I think if I'm not wrong, the volumes are already at a 3-month, 4-month high for the stock on the spot levels on the NSE so far, which means that potentially the stock should continue to move up higher. So I think it's an encouraging chart, and with the kind of gap up opening the stock has shown today, and potentially closing at much higher levels than the opening side for the stock, indicates that there should be more follow through momentum for the stock.
Okay, point taken. So that's a follow through that we're expecting on JBM Auto. But let me take it across to Nooresh as well and talk about a few other counters buzzing around. You have Bank Nifty actually, which is surging as we speak, 110 points higher, 48,400 on that one. And from the frontline index, it's ITC, TCS and Infosys all showing good gains. Nooresh, tell us what are the large caps you're betting on right now?
So ITC looks promising because the stock has been sideways compared to the rest of the market. So the stock was at 470 back in July, August of this previous year. So the stock has gone sideways for the last 3-6 months. We've seen a breakout in the last 2 sessions. Could slowly reclaim the highs made around those 500 marks. So ITC looks promising. Then in the large caps, ICICI Bank looks pretty promising because that's a stock which is testing that 1,000 support and trying to make a comeback. Good risk reward here. The last highs for the stock was around 1,000. So a good retest and a re-entry point. So ICICI Bank and ITC out of the heavyweights look promising.
Right. Let's also bring on board Pashupati Advani joining in with us on the fundamental expert side as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Advani, for joining in with us this afternoon as well. And firstly, Happy New Year to you, since we're talking to you today for the first time. Let's talk about a bit in terms of, if I want to understand one, in terms of the markets, we're seeing a bit of, after a subdued move, we're seeing the Nifty almost touching that new all-time high level. So yes, that's interesting. But in terms of any specific thing that you're looking at overall in the auto sector that you would find attractive? You're seeing the numbers coming in, not much of an excitement, but anything that you would pick point or find out that is attractive right now there?
I'm actually not so wild about the auto sector as most others. As you mentioned earlier in the show, it's a question of December numbers not being so great. And it looks like people are, you go to dealers now, they are promising you cars in February, March, which means there is stock and there is stock coming. And so they're going to be able to deliver, whereas a little while ago, you were waiting 6 months for a car. So I think that's probably not so great for the autos and the auto ancillaries. But, you mentioned the market leaders that are actually taking it up. I kind of agree with Nooresh about ITC. It's been not doing very much, and it's glad it's an index heavyweight. So it's good if it's going to be finally moving again. And I'm not as bullish on the IT sector and Infosys in particular. But, I guess it's being pulled along as one of the index heavyweights. So those are my brief thoughts about big gaps and the new year.
And we'll scratch that point further with you, but let me just
for that, Shrishti, and thank you so much for giving us that update in terms of what the numbers are looking like. Not much of an excitement that has come in. As of now, look at Nifty also, Auto also, nothing exciting there. Nooresh, let me come to you. Anything that you, in charts, you think that from the auto or auto ancillary pack is looking attractive right now, or something that you would look to buy right now?
So starting with the autos, the most interesting name right now in terms of risk reward is Maruti Suzuki. The stock has gone sideways for the last almost 3-4 months. It's at the lower end of the range, 10,000, roughly being the lower end of the range, 10,800, the higher end. And this is where it has been for the last 3-4 months. And the stock was last at 10,000 back in 2018 a couple of times. Tried to test that in 2023 also somewhere in June, July. And that is the price point it is available. So good retest risk reward wherein you have a 3-4% risk. And if this plays out, we could again go back towards 11,000 and then towards 12,500 as well. So in terms of autos, as of now, Maruti looks interesting. Hero MotoCorp is interesting, but the stock has already moved up 25% in the near term. So would wait for a dip there, but Maruti looks interesting. Then in terms of auto ancillaries, two names which have been sideways for the longest time, have been a relative underperformer and showing breakout in the last few weeks has been Endurance Technologies and Varroc. Both are setting up for multi-month, multi-year highs. So Varroc looks promising. The last time the stock was at 500 was back in 2019. So it's a 3-4 year breakout and consolidating above the breakout level. So I'll go with Varroc and Endurance in the auto ancillary pack.
Welcome back. Fresh record high for the market, 21,814, like the ring of that. But Pashupati, what's the sense that you get for 2024? One needs to be extra cautious, you believe, this year? Or given the fundamentals of the economy are so strong, shouldn't get too worried about this vertigo feeling?
Well, I've always been a little bit behind the curve and a little bit on the conservative side, simply because I believe that there's still a lot of doom and gloom happening outside India, and I'm sure that some of it is going to come onto us. So far, it's been rosy. People have been enjoying. People have been, movies are doing well. Everything, all leisure is doing well. But overseas, what I'm hearing is that people are going out, but the spends are lower. People are holidaying less. Air flights are coming down. So some of that has to come to us, and it may take 3-4 months. It may take 5 months, but then again, we have our elections, and we're all presuming that Modi ji will come back, and then it'll be off to the races again. But I'm cautiously optimistic, and as I said, we definitely need to be in the strong sectors, which are things like infrastructure, where the government is really focusing, and of course, the public sector enterprises and utilities and banks are also doing well. So those are the ones that one should ride on, and you'll probably make some good money in this first half, at least, of 2024.
Right. Kunal, I want to talk about Vodafone Idea. That has been going up and away. Do you actually, what is the view on Vodafone Idea? Is there anything on the charts that's looking more attractive, or was that just a bubble for the last 2-3 days that we were seeing and it's going to see a fall coming?
Not a bubble as such, but I think, what happens is for stocks like Vodafone Idea, these stocks are very erratic in terms of their price behavior, if I can use that word, because for weeks these stocks may consolidate, and for a matter of couple of days these stocks may change the range for themselves. Just as an example, end of October the stock was almost at 10.5 rupees. In the subsequent 3 or 4 days, the stock moved from 10.5 to I think 13.5, 14 levels, and then at those 14 levels the stock consolidated for more than 2 months. So this is a regular pattern which we tend to see for many of the stocks. So it could probably happen that maybe for the next couple of days it may move up to 19.5 levels, and then from there it may consolidate for a month and a half. So the best time to try and buy these stocks is when they go quiet, when the volatility drops down, when the price activity is not very steep and sharp, and then wait out for the points when these stocks correct or consolidate. That's a good time to try and enter the stock. But I believe that this is a very strong activity of price volume breakout for the stock, and it indicates that the new trend is in making for Vodafone Idea.
New trend in the making, but one of the old trends which seem to be repeating today is the outperformance of the public sector entities, whether it is those Gujarat-based companies, GSFC, GNC, etc., or the other names like Engineers India. All of these stocks are surging away in the trading session. Even Gujarat Gas, we pointed out, GNFC, GSPL, RCF, and the list is really long. Pashupati, what's your take on the public sector space? Because, of course, 2023 was a re-rating year of sorts. Time to take some profits off the table here, or do you see this as just the beginning of the cycle?
Well, two things I'm seeing with public sector companies. One is that they're all, the ones that are doing well are going to be good dividend payers. And I think that we'll see them declaring dividends in the month of February and March for this year, whether it's interim dividends. I think that's good. We've seen it in the past with good performers like REC. And the other thing about public sector companies is obviously the government is investing in infrastructure, and they're giving that business to public sector companies so that they, keep it within the family, as they say. And I think that that's a trend that, the public sector is driving the sort of boost in the capital in the economy, so that it can drive and create jobs and things like that. So obviously one should be bullish on those enterprises. And plus the government will probably sell some off in the secondary market. So, some of them are even looking interesting to buy at these levels, because I'm presuming the government will want to sell at higher levels. And in the same breath, you can look at Vodafone Idea, which is also a quasi-public sector company, because the government has about 30-odd%, which they took in lieu of the debt, around 10 rupees, and that's now worth 17. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see some of those shares also in the market sooner rather than later.
Now it's the Adani group of stocks which are also surging. So in the morning we had seen a spike on Adani Wilmar. Right now it's Adani Enterprises and Ports which is seeing a bit of a spike. So just watching out for these names. In fact, Nooresh, wanted your sense, if you had to take one of the top bets within this group, which name comes to mind?
So that would be Adani Ports. That's a stock which has the maximum institutional holding. Plus, it's finally broken out above the 950 mark. So the stock had topped out around 900, 950 back in 2021. Then in 2022, a couple of times. Then even before a few months back, it made a top around 900. So that's a stock which has given a clean breakout and now sustaining around the higher levels. So if one has to take a bet, this looks pretty promising, could slowly and steadily go up. Would look at it as a partial buy right now and add on dips going forward.
Okay. Adani Ports, that's the word coming in from you, Nooresh. Mr. Advani, I just want to come to you as well. Would you look at any of the Adani group names as of now? Anything that you would find that has value that you find attractive?
Holding company, and is the one that will participate in all the moves, and that's the one that people have been following. Ports also has got very good cash flow, so I think those are the two that people are looking at, and those are the ones that are actually going to give the performance. Again, as they get more and more businesses out from the government, they will get that extra value, and they do seem to be winners, and they seem to have got a clean chit from the world, so people are back in those stocks. So all good for Adani Group.
Okay, point taken. So that's about the Adani group of stocks. But let's go back to our technical experts to get the closing trade ideas. Kunal, what is the stock that you like?
Yeah, so stock, which looks attractive in fact on the charts on the spot levels is CESC, a stock which I think is now at 136, 37 levels. Excellent chart for the stock. It's formed a continuation cup and handle pattern, and I think that looks very attractive, indicative that this could be a start of a big multi-month uptrend for the stock. So would be bullish on CESC.
And Nooresh, what's your closing trade?
So that would be a buy on ICICI Bank, which looks the best risk reward at 1,000 rupees. Would expect a bounce back and towards a new all-time high going forward.
Okay, point taken. So those are the top picks coming in. But Pashupati, before we let you go, we can't let you go without a New Year's gift, right? If you had to give us one, which is the top stock you think for 2024?
Well, you're putting me in a box, but I think I'll give you my idea of the top sectors. I think one of the top sectors is going to be telecom and all the telecom ancillaries. So I think those are the ones that will be there because our population is growing, our population is liking data, our population is moving to 5G, all good stuff that is going to actually help the telecom companies and all their providers. So I think that's where the joys are.
The telecom companies which is surging today is Vodafone, but I do guess that you're also hinting at Airtel because that's one of the pure play telecom companies that we have. Thanks so much, Pashupati, for making time and speaking with us. In fact, on that note, let's quickly head into a break. When we come back, we'll discuss more individual stocks and what's passing around with the markets hitting the fresh record high level.